There we are. Okay, awesome. So, Amika, thank you for sharing the context about where your community, your vision is. I think it's actually really cool to learn about the different use cases that people
Hmm.
are leveraging community, right? So having um, community as the central offer is one. Having the
Hmm.
community as a complementary piece of the funnel, right? The flywheel is another piece of it. And pairing up community with a SaaS offer, very powerful combination. So like I've been a career marketer and I've worked in a lot of different industries, and community-led growth, it can be extremely impactful for a SaaS product. So really cool idea. I could nerd with you about that for a while. So
Well, anytime.
awesome, awesome. Well, thank you for sharing that. Awesome. Okay, so we're gonna build off of that context for the lesson here today. Since you know us already, so I'm Mike. I'm heading up growth and marketing here at Heartbeat. Misty is our community manager, and both of us were Heartbeat customers long before we became Heartbeat team affiliated. So I was like, we were promoted from customer. Is like the joke we always have,
Yeah.
right? So I have my own community that I have built. It's a community for online entrepreneurs, solopreneurs, and I provide basically scale marketing coaching and business coaching through that community.
Hmm.
Uh, because I wanted to be able to bring my expertise to impact that's more granular for folks. And Misty, you have your community as well. Tell us a little bit about your space.
Yeah, I do have a slide for that a little bit,
Oh,
but
great.
my
Okay.
community is it's called Life Ninjas, and I basically help entrepreneurs save time and energy running their business. So automations is definitely right up my alley with that as a way to just maximize your time and energy.
Hmm.
Wonderful. And yeah, so we'll dive in here. We're already just we're vibing. We have a great energy going here. Everybody's camera on and talking. We're gonna be about, I'd say about 30 minutes more about of tutorial lesson teaching, I'm guessing. And then we'll have obviously Q&A. Like we don't have to batch it. If it's just small group like this, we can just shout them out as we go. If you do want to not forget the question, you can always pop it in the chat. I'll go read it, and we'll circle back to it. Otherwise, just interrupt and shout out and let us know what you
Fine.
want to know.
Yeah.
So if I may, I like to hype my presenter if I can here. So Misty is the community manager at Heartbeat. You are a Heartbeat user turned expert facilitator of the automations channel in the Hearth, and you have your own business and community obsessed with helping entrepreneurs save time, energy, running their business. So you have a theme, a through line running through all the different aspects of what you do.
Yeah,
It is always efficiency, it is always time saving, energy saving, and increasing effectiveness.
yeah,
So super exciting. And the purpose of this training is to help everybody either attending or watching the recording understand what automations are, how you can use automations to save time, make managing your community easier, and possibly even gamify engagement. So I really like all those topics. I hope we get to dig into it. And this one's available for our Black Friday weekend cohort special. We did a special if you were jumping in and deciding to make that leap during Black Friday. We have this awesome series of expert-led sessions from our own staff, bringing you our expertise. I think I'm the next one. I think I'm next month. Misty,
Hmm.
if I remember, I got to check the calendar. I think
nice.
marketing's up next. Okay, awesome. So we hope you take advantage of all these resources. If you have attended live, you have them in your brain. If you haven't, I think Misty, are we doing with recordings we send out by email? Is that right?
Yeah,
Awesome. We will send those out by
absolutely.
email so we can circle back if you need to rewatch. Great. Okay. Hey, let's kick off the workshop. Misty, please
All
give us
right,
the knowledge, make us smarter.
let's do it. Okay, can you see my screen?
Yes, we are in the glory of that Canva design. That is excellent.
Right. Well, talking about making things easier, Canva does make slideshows pretty easy. Thank you for the lovely introduction, Mike. I'm really
You're
excited about
welcome.
this topic. I think after everything you said, you know why.
Hmm.
So I won't waste time on that. But here's what I'm going to share with you today. So we're going to talk about automations 101, like what is an automation, that type of thing. Um, Community groups. We're going to talk about community workflows, external automations, and also some automation resources that we have for you as you get going. So first, I have to apologize if my lighting and audio are not ideal. I just had knee surgery and I'm not quite ready to tackle my stairs up to my office. So I'm kind of set up with like a rolling desk in my living room. We're just going to roll with it. But it also means I might not be looking straight at the camera all the time. And we just might need to say a little silent prayer that my kids keep quiet. So in advance, apologize for all of that, but I do promise that you're going to get something out of this training today. So before we get going, if we haven't met yet, Misty Dorman, hot mess wife, mother of two, Jesus lover, I sneak cookie dough when my kids aren't looking, annoyingly positive person, currently community manager for Heartbeat and facilitator of the automations channel, as Mike mentioned, in Heartbeat's community. So basically, like in a nutshell, my story, I got stuck in, I call it home biz quicksand for over a decade in various businesses that I've had this like entrepreneur spirit. So, and I realized once I started actually hanging out with people who were successful and making money, that results come from implementing solid systems, and burnout comes from hustle mentality and just trying to do everything yourself, right? So we need things like automation so that we don't burn ourselves out, and so that we don't waste time on non-CEO type activities, right? We need to be the CEO of our business and have that kind of a mindset. So now I've made it my mission to help other overwhelmed entrepreneurs with systems, strategies, tools, and tech to save time. And I call it mental calories running their businesses. I do that through my blog, my YouTube channel, other digital resources that I create, and my paid membership. So as Mike said, I actually use Heartbeat. And so the things I'm teaching you today, I'm actually doing in my own business. I didn't just make this up and try to figure it out for this training, right? So I just wanted to do a quick check-in and see, and you can just talk if you want to, because like, where are you at as far as automations go with your community? Like either maybe you don't have any set up yet, or maybe you're like, what is an automation? That's totally fine if you're there, or maybe you started creating some basic automations in Heartbeat. Maybe you did and you don't even realize they're automation. That could be a thing too. Or maybe you're super comfortable with setting up automations, and that's like totally fine as well. Hopefully I'll still give you some ideas today.
Yeah, I'm still learning. Like I basically came today because I do have support because I'm in a community, right, of like going through the setup and all of that. But and I'm like setting up all the workflows and the emails and the onboarding and and how it connects to everything and then how it's going to connect to our SaaS. But I just came because I wanted to learn what is possible. I just like to know everything about all this possible strategy that I could implement and when to implement it. So I feel like I know some stuff, but I'm sure there's like, as every class I take here, I find that there's like a whole another world that I need to like consider and when to consider it. And so I really, yeah, want to know what's possible.
That's awesome, because I think that getting set up early, or at least knowing what you can do so that you don't like waste a whole bunch of time and then have to go back and change your systems and whatnot. Perfect.
Great stuff. Yeah, honestly,
We're in the right
turning
place.
over the stones, making sure you don't have any blind spots. Super. The unknown unknowns, right? We got to solve for those.
Yeah,
Yeah.
for sure. All right. So usually, I think everybody who's watching this, we probably have like a wide range of levels with that. So maybe people who are like super experienced with automations, but they just don't know what all they can do with Heartbeat, or people who have no idea what automations are. So I'm going to do my best to work through that a little bit. So I wanted to give just a brief overview of like what automation even is. To me, automations are typically used to take a manual, usually a recurring task, but it doesn't have to be. But I think that's where they usually have the most benefit, to take those tasks off of your plate. And the main benefits of that, in my mind, are like efficiency, productivity, reducing the chance for human error, because it's going to just do the same thing, every time the right way, typically. Improving your customer happiness, because maybe, especially as you're scaling, you're able to like seem like you're more present with your customers, even when you might have an automation that's kind of doing some of those things for you. Decreasing your response times, that kind of thing. It can help you scale, as we just mentioned. It handles repetitive tasks, gamifies your community. And also, as I mentioned, like you need to be the CEO of your business. So getting into the weeds of your business and having to do all these like tedious little tasks that happen all the time, like that's not really the mindset we should have, right? We should hire that out or have a tool that does it for us as much as possible. I know early stages that can be kind of hard though. But if you have a recurring task that is taking you too much time or causing you like grief, like you just hate doing it, you dread it, get curious, you know, maybe sit down for like 5 or 10 minutes and just have your brain answer these questions. Our brains love to answer questions, right? That's what they do. So just ask yourself, like, is there a way to automate, or like, is there something that I need to automate in my business? So definitely take the time to do that, because you will come up with probably quite a list, and you'll know like what's the most annoying stuff I have to do all the time that I just don't want to do it, right? Or it takes too long. You're gonna know. So a little quick image here of how automations work. Usually what it is there's a trigger and there's an action or multiple actions that happen as a result of that trigger. So it's a cause and effect. It's if this, then do that, right? So you've got the trigger is like what causes the automation to kick off, to start running. And then the action or actions is like, you know, what's programmed to occur as a result of the trigger. So if I do this, then this is going to happen. So I'll give you a couple examples. So like a trigger could be someone purchases one of your products in Heartbeat. The action might be you make a pop-up window with fireworks or confetti that's like, congratulations, you just made the most awesome decision in your entire life. You're really cool, right? And like, here's how you get started, or something along those lines. Like, you may not even know that you can do that in Heartbeat. You can. And it's definitely like a really cool way to get people excited right away when they purchase your products. Another example is if someone goes inactive in your community, you can have an automation that sends them a direct message to check up on them and try to get them re-engaged, right? See what's going on in their life. How come they haven't been here for a while? Are they okay? You know, and I'm finding in my own community that works very well. People do respond to that, and they do come back in and like re-engage. Or some of them will be like, oh, I don't really have my business anymore, or, you know, I'm not focused on it right now. So, you know, just like it's not the right fit for them anymore. And that's okay too. But that's a great way to get people re-engaged. Another example would be like if someone hits a certain level of engagement inside of your community, then you can reward them by unlocking free bonus content, which I'm not gonna show how to do that today, but I will show you where you can find how. I've already made a video on that. So I will not leave you hanging on that one, because I know that's kind of one that people don't even think about a lot of times, like, oh, I can do that. You can, and it does work. It does get people engaged right away. And all of these things I just mentioned are things you can do with Heartbeat. So these are the 3 main types of automations that you can currently do with Heartbeat. We have community workflows. We have community groups, like automated groups within the community. And there are also external tools that you can use with Heartbeat to make certain things happen. And I'm gonna just like walk through each of those, and I'll show you some examples. So workflows, you can find workflows in both. There's a workflows page in your admin area, as well as on the triggers themselves. So for example, like when you're on your onboarding page where you're editing, like what happens when they onboard, what questions am I asking them as they're onboarding into my community, you'll see at the bottom, and I'll show it in my demo, like there's a spot where you can tell it like send them a DM or something like that. So you'll see it on the trigger pages themselves, and you'll see it in just the workflow area. And there are lots of templates in the workflow area. So if you need ideas, that is a good place to go and seek out ideas. These are really the first workflows that I recommend most communities kind of like get started with. So the first one is send that welcome DM to all new members. This saves you so much time because I know we all like, we want to have that personal touch, but if you start getting kind of busy, right? Or life happens, or you go on vacation or whatever, like you're not gonna be able to keep doing that, right? And again, not exactly a CEO task, even if you're the face of your community. So you can send them a personal message, and then if they reply, you can get into a conversation with them if you want to. You can also send a welcome email sequence to new members. I have this marked as optional, and we'll talk about that a little bit later, but the reason I have that marked as optional is because you can do that with an external automation tool, and some of you may prefer that. You can also send that, do like a welcome DM or a pop-up, like I mentioned, the confetti and fireworks, like we have that ability. You can pop that up on the screen right after they make a purchase. And then just generically, any recurring task that takes too long or you know, like eats your brain, right? Like eats all your mental energy that you just kind of dread doing. Okay, so I'm gonna do a little demo. Let me stop my screen share so I can share my other screen of how you can send a welcome DM when someone joins your community. So that's really like a simple first thing to try doing. And let me find my correct window to share here. Okay, can we see?
Yes, we can.
Okay, so here's an example of, so this is when they are onboarding into your community. You have all these questions that you ask them. I'm just in the back admin area. So here's the list of questions. And then down here at the bottom, it's gonna say workflow. And then you can do add action. And that's one way to do it. It'll give you all the options. So when they onboard into your community, do you want to send them a DM, an email, notification, or a pop-up? The other place I mentioned is under workflows, and you just click on create workflow and you'll see all these amazing templates. I'm sure they're going to keep creating more. And then it's this one right here, send a welcome DM to new members. So those will take you to the same exact thing. The same window is going to pop up. And so you can do it from either place. If you create it here, it's going to show up there. You know, it's going to show up in both places. So it doesn't matter which one that you use. But this is, you know, I talked about triggers and actions. It's telling you this is your trigger is when they join your community. So on community join, there's lots of other types of triggers as well. And I keep seeing those get added too. So you'll keep seeing like more and more you can do with these workflows over the years, I think. So you're going to send a DM. You're going to tell it, this is just my demo community. So my name is demo admin. This will be your name here, or you can have it sent out if you have like a virtual assistant or someone on your team you want it to go out from, because maybe you don't want to deal with the replies. However you want to do it, it'll go out from whoever you select here. And then Heartbeat's already created an example to get you started, which is amazing. So you can change this to whatever you want. Mine in my community, I'm telling them, I like to tell them like to make sure to go edit their profile, their bio area, because sometimes, you know, depending on how they type everything in when they're onboarding, it might actually format a little bit funny, or maybe they want to change their picture or add another link to, you know, one of their socials or whatever. So I just give them a link to a doc that I've created on how to edit your profile, but you can just send them to where to do it. And if you want to mention that in here, but really you don't want to give them like too much information right up front. You don't want to overwhelm them. You just want to tell them like how to get started or welcome to my community. Like, you know, here's how you can get the most out of it, that type of thing. I also have something in mind about how they can earn, I mentioned a bonus freebie whenever they start getting engaged. So I try to make sure they know about that right away, and I have it in my DM. But just to not overcomplicate it, you use this, it's good. Just tweak it to whatever makes sense for you. If you're not doing matchups as a feature, don't put the matchups in there, right? So tweak it to your own needs. And then you can decide how soon it sends from when they join. So this one is set up to send 1 minute after they join. So initial trigger is the join. And did you have a question, Ambika?
Yeah. I just wanted to ask the parentheses stuff because I'm working with a bunch of different
Oh, gotcha.
templates.
This
Is
little
those
thing right here?
triggers, no, the triggers that you like where it says member first name and community name, is
Yeah.
that are those just in those specific templates, or if you put that type of name, like
That's a
if I
good
wanted to
question.
put it somewhere else, does it also trigger that, or is it only in this like set
This
template?
will work in the workflows area. I don't think it works anywhere else, like in
Mhm.
threads, like in posts or
Like,
something like
yeah,
that,
in
right?
posts and threads.
But like if
I
I
don't,
wanted it lower, like if
Yeah.
I
So
said
if
chat
yes, you
you,
and
could.
channels, hey, first member
yeah,
name again, there, if
yeah,
I copy and paste that, that will trigger that anywhere you put it in workflow?
yeah.
Or
So right
use the
here,
menu pop up there.
yeah, you can see all the different
Mm,
options.
okay.
So you can do like their whole name or just their first name. I don't know
Hmm.
why you would just call them by their last name, but there might be some case for doing that. Um, their email address, if I don't
Hmm.
know, if you want to like have them make sure they joined your community with the same email address that they used when they signed up for your newsletter or whatever, like you can tell, like say here, this is the email address you used to sign up. You can kind of use whatever you want from here. And
Hmm.
yeah, you could like copy and paste this from anywhere, and that's just the variable. So whoever it sends to, it's going to call them by their first name. It's not going to say, hey, member first name, right?
Yeah,
It's
yeah.
whatever name they put in was their first name. Yep.
I just was wondering if you can move it around and add to different places. Like
Misty,
if
if you
I
copy
wanted,
and paste
Yeah.
it, does that
Mhm.
work the same way as if you use the put your cursor somewhere and then use
Yeah.
that little menu in the bottom corner?
Yeah,
Okay.
it does. Mhm.
you might
Is-
want to say, hey, Dorman,
Yeah, you
hey,
might.
Yeah.
when you get really familiar in your communities.
Yes.
Yeah. You can add more actions. So like if you want to send a DM in addition to that, you can do that and get your message right there. Or sorry, that was a DM already. I meant email. Send an email, and then you can actually even put it in the subject. It doesn't really show you that, but you could
Okay.
grab this and put it in the subject. So you could be like, welcome first name to our, our community.
Oh yeah.
And you can have that there.
Cool.
Yeah, so that's how you do that. Super simple. And then you'll see it here in your workflows list, and it will tell you like how many times it's run and all that good stuff. You can go in and edit it if you need to change it. You can pause it and you can get more information about, so like mine's not going to say anything's run yet, but it'll give you more details about the run history there as well. Okay, so I'm gonna stop my screen share and go back to my slides.
Misty, I don't know if you
Okay.
know this about me, but I had discovered one of your YouTube videos back before I became a Heartbeat team member when I needed help with something for my own
You did?
community. So yes, the fact that you put those out there, super helpful.
Awesome. Thank you. I'm going to share at the end what are the best ones to go watch around automations. So I
Awesome.
got you guys covered here. All right. So the next thing, the next type of automation you can do with Heartbeat is community groups. So when creating a new access group in Heartbeat, you will see an option to make it an automated group. And you're going to find lots of templates there that Heartbeat's already created for you, just like the workflows, which you can kind of use to just like get inspired as to what you can do. So I definitely recommend doing that, getting the ideas flowing. And you can modify them however you need. So if you're like, oh, this template is almost what I need, you can probably tweak it to what you actually need. And automated groups are not joinable by your community members. So that means they're not going to see them in their my groups area where they can go join it. Okay. It's going to be groups that are just automatically created based on the criteria that you select. Okay. And these are the first automated groups that I recommend creating as kind of like a new Heartbeat user. So badges are going to show up next to someone's name when they're posting or commenting in the community. So it's going to say like Misty Dorman, power user, right? Or something like that. So I recommend creating a team badge, even if you're the only person on your team. Like people might forget, like if they haven't been in your community for a few months and they come back, they might like forget what your name was or something like that. So it's nice to have like something like team right next to your name so that anytime you're commenting or posting, people realize you're like the authority in your community. Also a power user badge. This is where you can start to gamify your community a little bit. So and you can brainstorm ideas for other types of member activity levels and give them names that match your branding. So I'll show you, yeah, I have a slide in here for how I did mine. So this is an example from my community, my Life Ninjas community, to just kind of get you thinking about the possibilities with the badges. Don't feel like you have to do this exactly. But if you want to take a screen share, you certainly can. I would say you don't want to go crazy with making it possible for someone to have a lot of different badges at the same time, because currently I believe Heartbeat will only display the 3 most recent badges that they have earned. It will show like in their bio all the groups they're in that are not hidden, but as far as being like next to their name, I think it's only going to show up to 3. But anyway, here's a doc that I made in my community, so I can link to the doc anytime I want to talk about badges, right? Here, oh, have you earned any badges yet? You're like, oh, here, go earn your badges, right? So this is a doc, and these are just like all the different badges my people can earn. My community has a ninja theme, so I did try to name them in ways that kind of match our theme, or at least like ninja adjacent. Sure, it's not perfect, right? But like as you can see, we have power member, supportive sensei, postmaster, so like someone that's making a lot of posts. And white belt ninja would be like someone who just joined. And then I've also added badges for people who've joined my my bigger membership, my Life Ninja Academy. So, and then I'm also using that, like bonus tip, I'm using that as a way to promote Life Ninja Academy too, right? Like, hey, if you haven't joined yet, right, here's a link real quick. And also I have founding members from Life Ninja Academy, so they also have a badge. So my first kind of batch of people that ever joined. And then I'm also telling them on this page how to earn the bonus content that I mentioned that they get if they get engaged. So I definitely recommend, like, if you're going to have a bunch of badges, like show them how they can earn all of those cool badges. Don't just have it like a secret, right? Tell them how they can earn the badges, how they can work for it. People will work for carrots that you dangle, you know, like the right people will do that. Okay, and then I'm gonna do another demo on
I just ask
how
one thing?
to, what's that?
Can I ask one thing about badges?
Absolutely.
So you open up, like if they get a certain badge, that might give them a perk, right?
Mm-hmm.
So what are,
It could be just a badge, like a badge. Sometimes, so marketing psychology, there's badge value where people just feel special having a sticker on their
yeah,
shirt.
Yeah.
But then there's also, yes, you can use it to control access. You
yeah.
could, however you
I
choose
would
to do it.
prefer, I think, for my community, less, I mean, I love gamification, but not just for the sake of gamification, but more
Right.
for like a value, you know,
Yeah.
to like, and like a win-win,
Mhm.
win-win value. I don't know if there's something or some things that you offer first that people really value. Um,
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely something that you can play around with. For
mhm.
mine, like the free content they get when they engage, it's literally just like something that I ran as a 5-day challenge live at one point, and I'm just unlocking it for someone
Yeah.
for free.
You
Like I've
can
already done it, it's content I already created, it's not something new I had to make, but it would give value to the right person, right?
Yeah.
you could
Um,
also do like thinking about creative ways that the content in the pop-up or the DM body or the email body
Yeah.
delivers something unique. It could be a Google Drive link. It could be a Stripe
mhm,
code to get a
Mhm.
discount, right? It could be, there could
mhm.
be a variety of, hey, if you comment here, you get this code, and this code gives you 2% off your SaaS subscription, or
Yeah.
the next tier of higher level on the same, like instead of 25 comments, it's 85 comments, you get 5%, and then
Right.
et cetera, you know?
Are there triggers? Are there automations for those badges? Like, can you set
Yeah,
up what
I'm going to show
happens?
you. I will
Oh, okay.
show you next.
Sorry.
Absolutely.
Okay.
So a lot of times when you do create an automated group,
Mhm.
you're going to combo that with a workflow in Heartbeat. So you're going to have the automated group, but then you might also want a workflow that does something when they join that automated group. For example,
Mhm.
like they don't just become a member of the group. Like you want something to happen, and that's what the workflow is for. Um, so let's stop my screen share again here and get us on the right screen. Okay, so we're gonna do a celebratory pop-up when someone becomes a power user, right? They just become an awesome power user in your community. So the first thing that we need to do is create the automated access group for that. So you're just gonna go into your access groups area and create a new group. And I'm just gonna call it power. Oh, well, my thing doesn't want me to type in here. Okay. It's weirdly making me hold down my mouse button to type in the field. So I might not do a lot of typing, but let's see now it's working. Okay, so you can put a description on here. I'm not sure the descriptions really show up in a lot of places right now, so you don't have to, but it can be a description for at least you'll know how they become a power user as well. And then you're going to select this automated option right here. And when you do that, you can check out the templates here. So Heartbeat has some different levels of users. So they've got like power user, helpful. These are the like basically what I have in my community. I just gave them different names and it maybe changed the requirements of getting into those groups a little bit. So you've got icebreaker, you know, you can do admin, moderator. I tend to just do one that's for team. Like I mentioned before, is like it's basically everyone who's an admin and moderator is part of my team. You've also got inactive or slipping away users. I do not recommend making those a badge. You don't want to, you don't want to, you don't want to do that to your people. So
Yeah, I made a badge called lurkers, And
Oh
I'm like,
yeah.
I need to make sure this one's not visible because I'm like,
Yeah.
oh yeah,
Um,
lurker. Yeah, no.
Yep.
no, we
So
don't.
here's where you do that. You just put hidden and then nobody will see that but you. And you can still perform like do workflows that are triggered by them being
Mm.
put into that like slipping away or inactive group or whatever. Um,
It
and
gives you so much
nobody sees.
visibility into member management, by the way, Amico. It's like, and you are, if you built a SaaS product, like you're used to having that level of visibility into your user
Mhm.
base, but like this is where you set that up for your community members. It's like I've learned for my community, it's so crazy that there are I have like about 100 members in my community currently, and I'm looking at it and I'm like, it feels like there's only like 12 or 15 hardcore people in here. But
Yeah,
then I look at like who's
normal.
lurking, and I'm like, wait a minute, there are people who have just been spamming the recordings and just never talk. And I'm like,
Mhm.
okay, like
Yeah.
that works, you know?
And I think that's like a pretty common figure too, like maybe 10% are like more active, and then the
Yeah.
rest are kind of like they might be checking it out, but they're not talkative. You see that on Facebook and everywhere else too, right?
Yeah,
Mhm.
that 10 to 15% range. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, so I just used the template for power user and it's just automatically putting in what they call filters. So this is just like it says right here, controlling who belongs in this group, right? So if they have made a post, like if they've made more than 25 posts in the last year and more than 25 comments, and they've received more than 25 actions, and this one you may or may not want, but group does not include two groups. I don't know what that one's there for exactly with the
Oh,
template.
I've used those before. So example, like
Oh, right
if you
here.
do,
I just
yeah,
had to click into it.
if you don't want admins or moderators to
Yep,
get this
got it.
badge, or
Forgot you
I
can
do
see
that
which
because
new
then
groups they're talking about.
I would get every like super awesome engager award as the admin because I'm the one who
Right.
responds to everybody's comment, and I'm like,
Yep.
that's a
Yep.
cheat. That's a cheat code. I don't want to
So
do that.
definitely, yeah, remember you don't want admins and mods included in this. So it's saying groups, but these are actually user roles, not groups.
Mhm.
But you can kind of like select. So if you've already made that team group, you could actually just put the team group right here and say not part of the team, right? Team can't be power users. And you can change these however you want, right? Like if you have a smaller community and it's less active, then 25 might be kind of high for, for this requirement. Maybe you want to start by just making it like 10 or 15 or something. Maybe you don't care if they got reactions. You're just happy that they posted and commented on some stuff, right? So you can kind of play with that and you get the ability to kind of change that to however you want. You might even have it be like for the last 3 months instead of the whole last year, right? Maybe you don't care if they did it in the last year. You just
Mhm.
want to know, are they a power user for the last 3 months or the last month?
You know
And
your user journey. Like if they're on like a monthly subscription, maybe you care more about granular engagement month to month versus annual subscriptions where you're
yeah,
like,
it's
it's
going to be
okay if they
really
have a quiet
community
month.
specific,
Yeah.
right? Like you kind of know your community and what a power user is doing. And you might even know like who your power users are already. And you'll see after you create this, like who got filtered into the group. And if it's missing some people, maybe like drop your numbers just a little bit or something like that. You're not going to have to worry about giving them access to anything for this specific scenario, but if you wanted to give them access to us like a specific channel or a doc area or something like that, or a course, you could actually do that right here. And then you definitely want to make sure you make this a badge. You can change the color. You can even customize the color to one of your branding colors. So you get to choose how you want that. And you're just going to hit create, or look at this right here. They already have the workflow section ready for you. So you can add the workflow, which we're going to make a celebratory pop-up. We want to reward them with a like, hey, you're awesome, right?
Yeah.
So we're gonna do
Congrats on winning this badge, right? You know.
that. You've
Mhm.
And
earned the power user badge.
we tried to put when we built the product, I was talking to our product guy, like rather than having to change where you are to go do the thing, we want you to be able to do the thing wherever you are. So you'll see like making workflows next to groups is there, you know, and then if you're making an automation from scratch, you could create a new group if you accidentally don't have the group ready to begin with. So
Mhm.
we try to give you that flexibility.
Okay, since my screen is being buggy right now, let's see if it'll let me do it. I think it will actually. So like you've unlocked the power user badge, right? And you're going to type whatever you need to type in there. And then you can add a inspiration. Like you can do fireworks, confetti, or lights. You can even preview that. Yay. You can put GIFs in here if you want to. You can have it take them to a specific area of your community when they click on it. I'm trying to remember. I don't see that we can remove this button. So you want to do something, right? How to do something.
Yeah.
Maybe you send them to your badge page, right? Like if you have the like how to earn all the different badges, like see.
You can also treat it like a
badges.
dismiss. You could treat it like a dismiss
You
button,
could,
and it just
yeah, and
takes them
it
to your
goes.
home thread or whatever.
Yeah, it goes back to like your main discussion area or something. Absolutely. So yeah, you can take them however you want. And so yeah, let's do that since I don't have that badges doc in this community. And there you go. So we can save that and then hit create here. And so now we have this power user. I like to put emojis on there sometimes too. So you can certainly do that if you want to. And then if you go into your workflows area, there should be a second workflow here now for on join power user. So when they join the power user group. Any questions around that?
I just have a comment, which
Sure.
is just seeing use case for my circumstances, but I do love the incentivizing because you want people, even for lurkers, like you were saying, like you want to activate people and maybe they just don't know how to do things. So if you're like, hey, if you activate this, which helps other people in our community and supports each other,
Yeah.
that being active is why we're here. Like not only like I can give you this gift. And I was also thinking in my case, because I have a two-sided marketplace, so I'll have a seeker community and a guide community, but like being like, okay, if you're active in this way, we can showcase you because of your commitment to us and our mission and whatever, because of your
Yeah.
level of commitment and thank you so much. Like we'd love to showcase you in the seeker community or like just these really beautiful ways to
Yeah,
help
absolutely.
people get
So
activated, like have it be worth something to them, have it be win-win, like I didn't really
yeah.
I thought the badge system, I'm glad I'm here because I thought it was a little bit more on like gamification side, which was like I did 25 comments,
Yeah, yeah,
like
yeah.
and that's
Which it
not
can
that
be, but it doesn't
interesting.
have to be.
Right, it's not exactly
Mhm.
my cup of
We
tea,
built
but
this
like
to be
I
like the
get
we built it
Mhm.
to be like whatever you want it to be. Like that's the
yeah.
group is just a container. And then you can
Hmm.
choose whether it's invisible, visible as a badge, automated or static. Like you can literally just put people in a group based on
Hmm.
manual additions. Like I
Mhm.
made a special group of like my hero, and it's hidden, but it's like my champions, and I'm like, oh, every
Hmm.
time somebody does something, I know that if I need to beg, borrow, and like steal like attention, like I will
Hmm.
go to those people because they will give it to me. So
Yeah.
like yeah, it's just a handy container, and then Misty has all of the cool automation attachments you can do to it.
Yeah.
Really helpful for like life cycle activation.
Yeah,
Yeah, and a gift. Like it's like a give back too. It's so
Yeah,
beautiful to like say
right.
thank you for
Yeah,
being committed to this group and what we're about. Like it's just
exactly.
yeah, it's really nice.
absolutely. Yeah, and with your example, Ambika, so you could even like send them to a form they fill out to get showcased, like fill out your details here,
Hmm.
Hmm.
showcase you. You could send them an email. You could like however
Hmm.
you need to do it. You could have it send you an email so you know that that person,
Yeah.
you know, has, has done that. So you could set up. You might have to do that with an external automation, but you
Hmm.
can get notified when they hit those different groups or whatever you need out of that.
Hmm.
You probably do. Yeah.
Yeah, like maybe there's even like a personalized thing, like, oh, they've come to this. So, I personally will reach out to them with some like,
Yeah. And
that
you could
also
even do
makes
other things like only power users get to come to this event, or
hmm.
something like
Hmm.
that. Like you
Yeah.
can give only access to power users and they get invited to some special event with you with like
Yeah.
Hmm.
live
Especially since you
coaching.
use it for event-led lead gen.
Hmm.
If they attend an event, you can then add them to a group, and you can actually use that for like cohort analysis of like,
Hmm.
oh, they attended the March event, and of them, 30% are XYZ. And you're like, oh, well, now I understand that that event was a very effective lead gen tool. It's like
Yeah.
there's some pretty cool stuff you can look at.
It's so
Mike has
awesome.
definitely some
Mm.
awesome nerdy marketing ideas around this that he's been doing in the hearth. And so it's kind of cool to just see like all these different ideas that get flowing when you start thinking about like just brainstorm, like ask your brain that question, like what can I automate here? Or what would be helpful to, to badge people as, or how can I use this information? Okay, so I'm gonna just go through external automations quickly. So these are automations that require a tool outside of Heartbeat, basically an external tool. So some popular ones you might have heard of are like Zapier, Pabbly, Make. External automation tools help you basically connect one program to another, or even perform actions based on a trigger within the same program. So like the Heartbeat workflows, you could do all of that stuff probably in a, not the pop-ups, but you could like send a DM or send an email to someone based on something they did in Heartbeat. And then, so remember when I suggested sending a welcome sequence using Heartbeat's workflow was optional. Even though Heartbeat does have a workflow template for that, and that is totally fine to use. And I think that a lot of beginners who are like, intimidated by external automations, like just go ahead and use it. It's totally fine. If you are comfortable using an external automation tool, like you're already using something like Zapier and you know how to get around in there, and you just want to use your own email autoresponder, you can connect Heartbeat using a tool like that to your email program. I definitely recommend doing that. You should have an email autoresponder. If you don't, I highly recommend you should have an email list of all of your people, regardless of if they're in your community or not, right? Like a place that you communicate with your people through email. Then I would recommend doing it this way with the external automation. So the reason for this is, I'll just say, like, Heartbeat is first and foremost a community platform, right? They've added all these great features on top of that make our lives better as community managers. But it is a community platform. It's not an email program, right? Your email autoresponder is first and foremost just for sending emails. So this means that it's going to have more email features like analytics to track all your open rates and your click-through rates and show you where someone's at in your email sequence. And I mean, Heartbeat's adding some of this stuff, but they're not an email program. So if you're comfortable doing it, do it this way. You may already have an email welcome sequence set up for your products if you were, selling stuff outside of Heartbeat before you joined Heartbeat. And so you can just keep using that by using an external automation to let your email program know, like tag them when they have purchased a product or when they've joined your community and that type of thing. This is also why I recommend that you create an automation to tag someone in your email program. You want to give them like a community tag so that you know that they have joined your community. You can also have another automation that removes them from the community when they unjoin your community. And that's going to make it super easy for you to tell out of like all of your people that you've, gotten onto your email list from all these various places, who's actually joined your community, right? And who hasn't. And then you can specifically email the people who haven't and say, hey, what's up? Like come join my community. And you can market it just to those people and not be bugging the people that have already joined and having them unsubscribe because now they're annoyed because they're already part of your community, right?
Hey, Ambika, what do you use as a CRM? Just curiously, what do you use for email capture?
We use HubSpot, but
Yeah.
I don't know if we were going to use them just because of scalability and price for the marketing emails. Like I think we had MailChimp and HubSpot, but I'm not totally sure if we want to use MailChimp or exactly what we're going to go with.
Sure.
Gotcha.
Well, you got to scale that to whatever bit, and this is probably better for the March session when we talk about marketing more in detail. But
yeah,
I have both MailerLite as like a tool for emailing because it works for capacity and cost appropriateness for the scale my community's at, and I have a free instance of HubSpot for just a general CRM because in HubSpot you can have life cycle stages, and you could have an external automation change their life cycle stage from lead to community member or like free member, paid member. Like there's a variety of tools you could do, or you just do groups in whatever MailChimp, MailerLite, whatever a tool you'd like to use.
Yeah,
I see this, like I set up the welcome series also just because we're just starting the community piece just for our initial guide group for a few months, but I can see us transitioning quickly to an automation here, like a Zap or something to our email provider. But I see this working really great and totally fine for smaller communities or starting out for a while and like, doing what you need. So if you don't want to get overwhelmed by being like, okay, who's my email provider yet? And you're not at that level. I see this being really great for like new Heartbeat users, you know?
Absolutely. Like our goal is to get people up and running with their community as quick as possible. So if you
Yeah.
need to send out an email to people through the community, you can do it
Yes.
now, which is a great feature, I think. Um,
Yeah.
Along with what I was talking about, you can also set up similar automations. So like when somebody purchases a product in Heartbeat,
Mhm.
and your trigger can either be like when they join that product's group in Heartbeat, or that they purchased a certain product in Stripe, that type of thing.
Mhm.
And that's also going to help you track in your email program who has those products. So I don't know how you've got your setup. Like in mine, in my email program, I have a tag for every product. Basically, it's like a student tag. You know, they're a student of this product, they're a student of that product. And so I wanted a way, like, what if they buy through Heartbeat, you know, and because I had an external thing, you know, an external program I was using before for all my, you know, all my courses and everything. But now it's like, what about the products they're buying through Heartbeat? How do I make sure I know in my email program that they are a student of that specific product? You got to use an automation for that, an
Mhm.
external automation. And then that will help you like push them through any welcome sequence with that if you want that happening in your email tool versus in a Heartbeat workflow. It's going to help you know who's a student and who's not, so you can bother the non-students with your, you know, with your
Mhm.
marketing, right? Hey, why aren't you in here? This is how I can help you, right? I will say if your product is a subscription, so if you're doing a paid membership subscription, you also do need a second Zap or whatever automation that will remove them from the tag in your email program.
Mhm.
So you
Mhm.
know when they've unsubscribed, you know, they canceled their subscription.
Yeah.
So you just keep that accurate over in your email program. And then of
The other
course,
thing to
oh
bear
yeah,
in
go
mind
ahead.
here, I think, and I hate to add context as we're like close on the end of the time block here, but if a member turns off all their notification settings within your community,
Yeah, that can happen.
automations follow those rules. So even though you say send a member an email, if that member says, I do not want to emails, I'll come and check manually myself as their mindset, they don't get that email. But
That's a good point.
your
Yeah,
but your
that's a good point.
CRM will, but your email software will because they have consented until they unsubscribe.
Mhm.
So like that's something to remember too.
That's a really good point.
Mhm.
And then of course you want to create automations for whatever else takes too long and too many mental calories in your business, right? So again, have a quick brainstorm on just let your mind wander on all the things that you can possibly do, and then we can start to like narrow it down as like, can I do it inside Heartbeat or do I need a tool for that? You know, just give yourself space to think about it because that might be some initial work, like setup work up front, although you saw how fast I did those workflows, right? Like it's very fast sometimes, but sometimes it's something a little bit bigger that takes a few more things to think out, especially with the external automations. You know, if I do this, do I need to like make a filter or a router? Do I need to route them two different directions based on, you know, their status or something like that? So even though it might take a little bit of time to set up front, it is definitely worth it in the long run to not be doing this yourself manually. So definitely
Mhm.
brainstorm through that a little bit. Okay, so now that we have like a basic understanding of what types of things you can automate for your community, I just want to share a couple of resources before we go to help you because you will inevitably have questions as you start doing these things and, you know, being an action taker and all that good stuff. So Heartbeat's community, the Hearth, does contain quite a few automation resources to help you along the way. The big one would be the automation help discussion channel. We automatically add you to it when you join the Hearth. Everybody's in this channel. You should have access to it if you're in the Hearth. And this is where you would want to go to ask all your automation questions. I am currently the facilitator for this channel, so you're going to find a pinned post there from me. There's some links to, as you can see, some links to some of the external tools. And that's really a good place to go ask your questions. You can also use the search bar for anything specific that you want to search for. You'll probably find, you know, some answer in there if somebody's done it before. Then also in the resources area under Threads We Heart or Threads We Love, you will find a doc called Misty's Automations List. So this was a post that I made not too long ago, actually, where I just shared like a list of all of the automations that I'm currently doing in my community just to get people's ideas flowing as to what they can do. So it's possible we might move this to a different section in the resources area. So if you can't find it, you don't see it, just go type Misty's Automations in the search bar at the top. You're going to find it.
Alrighty.
Okay. And then I'm also, as a facilitator in the automation help channel, I do a monthly live, like ask me anything type of an event. So it's very informal. You can come just to listen. I have like a lot of lurkers in there. They're like, I just want to hear what people are talking about because I don't even know what I don't know, kind of a thing. Or you can bring your questions there. If it's, if you have something that you're working on or something you're thinking about working on, and you just want to know what's possible, all that good stuff. The next one of these is actually today. So make sure you go RSVP for that if you're interested. And then I have some of my own resources as well because, I have my business outside of being part-time community manager for Heartbeat right now. And so I do have a YouTube channel where I've created, Mike mentioned, I've got like several YouTube videos out there. There are 3 that I recommend you like go after first as far as automations go. And it's these ones right here. I'm sure I'll be creating more eventually, maybe when I get back to my office. But this is the link to my playlist. It's just mistydorman.com. Oh, I put the wrong link. I'm so sorry. It's the one at the top. No, that's the right link. Okay. HB playlist. So mistydorman.com/HB playlist. And then at the bottom, I also do consultations. I do 1-hour Heartbeat consultations with people. So if you're like, I need help with my tech setup, that's what I do. I'll walk you through it, or I'll do it for you while you watch me, something like that. So as far as the videos go, this first one is going to walk you through my setup where I DM inactive members. So they get that inactive, group badge, basically not badge though. It's hidden. Nobody knows that they're inactive. And I get them back to engaging. So it's like exactly how I set up all of that. And how to do it also if you already have members in your community who are inactive and you want to make sure you kick off a message to people who have like been inactive for a while or whatever. Okay, and then the second video shows how I'm unlocking that bonus content for members who like hit a certain level of engagement in the community. So this is how you gamify getting people to engage right away, right? Or if you don't like the word gamify, it's just how you encourage them, right, to engage right away when they join. And it does work. I definitely did see my engagement go up after I enacted that. And so that's going to show you like everything I did to set that up. And then the third one shows how I've created a year's worth of posts that schedule out daily to my community, to a thread, like a channel in my community on a loop. So there's always a new post every single day. I'm giving them the same post every year. They don't know it. They don't remember. They don't know what I posted a year ago. Nobody remembers that stuff, right? And so this is a way that, and that one's like a little more in depth, right? That's a little bit more of an advanced concept maybe, but think about how much time that saves me, that I don't have to go be active in my community every single day. But they think I'm there, right? Posting. I'm very consistent.
That was the video I found, by the way, Misty.
Was it?
That was the one. Yeah, that was the one.
Something I have a problem with is consistency. I'm on the lazy side. I don't want to have to do all the things, but I want to make it easy, right? So that because I know that I will not be consistent. So yeah, those are my my resources. And unless you have any questions.
Yeah, any parting thoughts or questions
that's
there?
all I had for the slideshow.
I got a lot of value out of today because, like I said, I was looking for broader picture strategy. What do I need to add in? When will I need to be adding it in? So like, I really
I hope this was
appreciate.
helpful to get you started or to see kind of what's possible.
Yeah, it definitely was. The whole gamification part was like a little bit of a bubble to me, but now I really see it like less like of this idea of like a school gamification land
Right.
versus
Think of it as
like,
like
this is
encouragement.
like this is bringing people together. This is doing this and this. This
Yeah.
is like
It's
what it
activation
actually.
milestones.
Yeah.
It's more what it
And it's
is.
not just
And
like,
it
oh,
helps
get them in
them.
and sell them on something. No, it's like actually it's a win-win, which is like just a
It
beautiful thing
helps
to
them,
understand.
right? It's like how can
Mhm.
you get the most out of this community, right?
Yeah.
Especially if it's a paid community, like how can we move you along through, through the track or whatever, what we want you to be doing, because then you
Yeah.
will get the most out of it. And, and we will be able to help you the most if you do these things, hit these
And
milestones.
it also is like such a valuable tool for churn and like why people fall off because you didn't even realize they weren't activated, and all of these things just keep that going. So it's like
Yeah.
it is really important. It's not just a game.
Oh yeah.
It's like,
If you
no,
can
actually.
get back to those people that are slipping away or totally
Mhm.
inactive, you know, if you have a way to do that, like you definitely can pull the right people will come back in. You know, some people it just wasn't a good fit, and that's totally fine.
Mhm.
And other people it's like, oh, I just got really busy, you know, or whatever. And you're just
Yeah.
reminding them, like, come back out and engage. Like, remember
Or
all the
you were
people you
missing
got here?
something. Like you can ask them, what was missing for you? Why are
Yeah,
you
like
slipping away? And you can see
exactly.
it as it's coming up before it's gone.
Yeah, like, hey,
See
is
if
there
you can
anything more
remedy
that
it.
we
Like,
can be doing for you? Is there a
yeah.
new resource you need us to create? Like,
Mhm.
it's a really great way to get feedback about that kind of stuff, and you will
Mhm.
see people reply to that type of thing.
Yeah. Love it.
Awesome.
Mhm.
I'm really glad that this was helpful. I know many people watch these recordings watch these sessions as recordings, but it's always fun to get together and chat. And speaking of get together, Misty, you didn't say exactly what it's like. Less than an hour from now, you have your open office hours session, and you do that what, monthly or biweekly? What's this? What's the
It's
cadence on that?
currently it's once a month.
Once a
It's
month.
usually the fourth Thursday of the month. We did have a second automations facilitator who was doing like his own meeting on the second Thursday or like Tuesday or Thursday of the month,
The
but he's
Right.
not there anymore. So maybe eventually we'll have another person and we'll do it more often.
Sure. But with that, that's a great example. So, Emeka, where if you
Mhm.
take something broader and you want to get into the weeds about it, that's a great session for it. It's also,
Mhm.
the channel is a great place to float what ifs and see what other people have
Yeah.
done. So you can see like, hey, has anybody tried this? And like, oh yeah, I did, that went terribly wrong. Here's why. And then you're like, great, you just saved me from the problem,
And
from
I'm
having to
not
reach.
like the be all end all, you know, most knowledgeable person on everything automations, right? There's a lot I don't know, or there's a lot of ways to use automations that I haven't even thought of. So definitely use that channel, that space, because we have some really, really awesome people in there who have thought up a lot of crazy ideas and things that they're
Mhm.
doing. And they just, you know, maybe are even like better at some of these things than I am, you know. So you'll get more answers to your questions out there than just me.
Um, Yeah, honestly, every time I feel like we do something like this, Missy, I learn as well. So like, I'm really happy to always
Awesome.
be facilitating. So,
Mhm.
great. Okay, so thanks for being here, Emeka. I appreciate you kind of investing in your knowledge and your growth in this. Know that the teams continues to be here. You've got March, April, and May left for the cohort that we're doing, the special sessions that we've got. And Misty, there's also just the regular schedule of events, like the general old hearth events that
Oh
can
yeah.
be just
Yeah.
good best practices in a variety of community-based business
Yeah, absolutely.
segments, right? So awesome. Thank you for being here. Appreciate it, Misty. Thank you for
Mhm.
teaching me and Amika and everybody else watching on the recording. I got a
Sure.
lot out of it, and yeah, this was a great session. I look forward to maybe seeing you at the next one, Amika. I'm going to be running the marketing one next time in March, so if
Okay.
maybe I'll see you there. All righty.
Awesome. Thank you.
Thanks.
Catch you later.
Mhm. Bye.